Hello everybody, my name is Pigsy People. Welcome back to the channel. And to start off, I know I said I was going to record Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so you would get videos on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. But last week, my mic broke because my fat ass stepped on the cord that connects it to my PlayStation, and I broke it. So I had to go find a new microphone. And I found one, of course, but it's just annoying that I broke it, because that was a pretty expensive microphone. It was a Yeti. I broke it. Like, god damn it. I feel so annoyed at that. But, well, I still got my microphone. This one's actually like I can hold it in my hand type microphone. So it won't be as hard to maneuver, and you won't hear me accidentally hit it and make a giant reverberating metal sound. See, because I'm just holding it, so you won't get that. But so I'm thinking this microphone might actually be better for recording, because that other one I think was better for talking on voice chat in video games like Marvel Rivals, where I had to make callouts. But okay, that's enough of me talking. I hope you like the video. I think this is gonna be the last part. Don't boycott me on that. But yeah, I'll see y'all later. Enjoy the video. Continuing our story, we see after All Might has defeated all for one, the UA has decided they would move Class 1A, considering how many times the League of Villains have attacked them, into dorms. Well, of course, from the permission of their parents. So, since I don't want to go into that, we're just going to continue. So after they all move in, Aizawa then says that they will be taking their hero license exams, and then he shows like a picture of where they're going to take them in like an arena. And every year the challenges change, so Aizawa has no idea what is going to happen. They're just going to have to train for anything that comes their way. So everyone starts training, including Deku. And eventually the day comes and they get on the bus and drive over. They all group into that big area, seeing all the new students and the other students. And that one student that looks really, really close to Deku, but just with black hair and taller. And his quirk is like the spin quirk. He spins his arms. And they also meet the guy who has beef with Todoroki, because he hates it ever. It's the guy with the air quirk. So after all that, they then get explained on what they're going to do. First, they will be doing a save retreat where they have to grab people and move them. And then the second part of the exam is this exam. And then they explain how you need to put these sensors on you and know where they can be easily hit, and then you throw balls at them, and then if you have all your exam by the end of the timer, you win. But you get more points for eliminating players. So they say you should probably eliminate players, and then they'll get into the hero outfits and walk out, and Deku saves some people by using his his float ability and extendo arm, because he uses stretch. It's an ability where he can stretch like cloth and crap. So he's able to save a lot of people, and actually pretty well ensure them that they're safe, because Deku knows he's strong, and they can definitely sense that Deku is strong, especially considering his quirk. They've seen it. So they believe they are safe with Deku. So Deku is able to get a lot of people out of there. Well, everyone else. Well, Bakugo and Todoroki sort of struggle. Afterwards, see, that was always like kind of boring. They all go out to that, like, what is it? Oh, yeah, the ball things. It's like tag. Yeah. So they get there. They all bundle up, spread out, and begin. It starts with Deku, kind of just slowly walking around, and then he sees the drill guy shoot some balls at him. So Deku uses shock waves to shoot them back, which actually hits one of the Rumble guy's sensors, which actually makes him freak, and so he backs up. So Deku then just uses shock waves to bounce off every ball that comes at him. And he uses flight to fly around and uses shockwaves to basically just uses shockwaves and flight here. So he flies around and starts hitting people with all the orbs and stuff until that girl with the air guy shows up, secretly Toga. But Deku doesn't know that. So she runs up on Deku, actually tackling him to the ground, and Deku just wrestles her off and kicks her away from him. Then she starts getting like creepy looking, her face starts melting and she starts grinning aggressively. So Deku starts being weirded out, and her clothes then melt off because that's an important scene for some reason. And then Deku gets flustered and then just uses shockwaves to back her up. And so Toga actually gets shot really far away, which sucks for her because she was trying to get blood. And she's like, okay, I probably shouldn't be doing this. So she just leaves she did actually get some blood, but so she just thought, yeah, I shouldn't be fighting that guy. And I'd like to think that she doesn't have as much of a crush on Deku than here, because Deku is a bit different here. Mostly in mentality. So, and mostly that difference is Deku is way more confident in himself. So afterwards, Deku kind of just passes the thing. No really anyone challenges him. So Deku gets his hero license and is really happy. Of course, if I had you would just know he would be happy. He's grinning and all that and teary. So, yeah, Deku gets his hero license. And Baku and Todoroki have to do that thing they did in the show. So, yeah. Eventually, Deku gets to meet the trio. I think it's the big three, which is Mirio, whatever his name is, Tamaki, and Nejire. So they all line up and they all introduce themselves as the big three and weirdos. So Miri then challenges the whole class of 1A to a battle. So they all get into the ring, and Mirio goes butt naked. So everyone gets weirded out by that, yeah, especially Deku. So yeah. Everyone starts getting just dropped. That is, of course, Deku, because main character. He's just actively stronger than Mirio right now. So Mirio keeps trying to do fakes on Deku, but Deku just keeps using shockwaves to back Mirio up when he tries to juke Deku. So Mirio isn't able to attack Deku because of shockwaves. Then Deku turns off shockwaves, uses strength to punch Mirio when he's being pushed away, and sends Mirio flying back, with Mirio saying that it's impressive that he's already able to counter him, but only seeing his ability a few times, with Deku saying it isn't that hard to understand it. So Mirio flies in under the ground, going for an uppercut, but then juking Deku and going for a grab to his legs to pull him to pull him to his knee. Then he puts his foot onto the ground, flies out, and punches Deku in the face, making Deku spin out. But Deku catches himself with flight after turning off strength. Then Deku turns on, then just zooms over to Mirio with shock and flight, actually headbutting Mirio in the stomach, which actually makes Mirio actually wrench, because ow. So Mirio then skids across the ground, eventually using his ability, and goes underground to shoot back up. Then Mirio flies into Deku with a big punch, no fakesies. So Deku actually takes it, uses durability and takes it head on, which actually he catches with his block, then basically counter blocks by punching Mirio in the face. Then Mirio gets twirled around, then Deku grabs Mirio by his waist and slams his head into the ground. But Mirio uses, clairvoyant stuff to face to the ground and kick Deku in the face. Then he spins out and lands on his feet, with Deku barely backing up because of durability. So Mirio then dead faces Deku, really serious, with Deku doing the same, and then a little bit of a pause, and Mirio says, "I give up." And Deku then gets a shocked expression, with Mirio saying that he's probably the strongest person in this room. So Mirio then says that, "I think someone would like you, but his name is Sir Night-Eye," with Deku telling him, what? So Mirio then explains who Sir Night-Eye is and how his agency would probably be pretty good for Deku, because Sir Night-Eye likes people that are clever. So Deku then decides, sure, I'll go there for my agency. So Mirio then puts his clothes on and leaves. Actually with a big grin, because holy goodness. Oh my goodness, there's a really strong guy in this class. And he's actually comparable to me. Of course, Deku is significantly stronger than Mirio. It's just because he has that, how much stuff he has to just counter Mirio. Just in my story, Deku here is way stronger than Mirio. Afterwards, we see Deku go to the office where Sir Night-Eye is sitting, and Sir Night-Eye spins around and tells Deku that Mirio has told him good things about him, and he would like to have him in his agency, but first he has to take, and then he grabs a stamp, and tells Deku to take it from him. So Deku then flies over, just runs over to grab it, but Sir Night-Eye just dodges Deku, with Deku being kind of shocked, because just kind of, though, not a lot. So Sir Night-Eye then tells Deku his ability. It is able to read people. He can tell the future by reading a person, and the future is always right. So Sir Night-Eye then throws different stamps at Deku. They're different colors, so Deku can tell the difference. And so Sir Night-Eye tries predicting Deku, but Deku keeps using shockwaves to make it harder for Sir Night-Eye to dodge, because he can't predict something twice. Well, actually, no, it's more Sir Night-Eye's speed. He's not as fast as Deku. So Sir Night-Eye is having to really dodge ahead. But eventually, I think Deku is able to grab the staple and kick Sir Night-Eye right in the jaw, kicking him into the upwards slightly, and then slamming onto his desk, which actually breaks it in two. With Sir Night-Eye getting up and saying, "Impressive. I guess Mirio is right about you." So Sir Night-Eye then says that he's part of his agency, with Deku saying, thanks. So he throws the staple stamp over to Tsunade, and Tsunade catches it, putting it in his pocket. And so Tsunade tells Deku to go on a patrol with Mirio. So Deku and Mirio go on that patrol. And after going on the patrol, while on patrol, Mirio explains to Deku why he's in Tsunade's agency. So he explains that Tsunade was such a good teacher to him that he might as well just stay. With Mirio, then looking over to Deku, with Deku nodding, saying, well, that makes sense, I guess. If he's good at that, why not just stay? So while they're walking still, Deku feels a bump on his leg, so he looks over to see a little girl with a horn on her head. Look over and see her utterly in fear, so Deku swats down to see if she's alright, until he sees Overhaul appear, stand right behind Eri, and tell Deku and Mirio that, is everything alright? My daughter, and then he stutters slightly, usually runs away from home. She just doesn't like my curry. With Deku basically immediately telling Overhaul, you're full of shit. But Mirio then touches Deku's shoulder, looking at him, telling him that it's just not a good idea to fight this guy if we're trying to get rid of him. With Deku's, Mirio, with his eyes, that there's no way they can't just take the kid who is clearly abused from him. But Mirio is just trying to tell Deku that it's just not a good idea at the moment, and they can save her later. But Deku, with his moral and strength, is he can't just let that slide. So Deku just turns on shockwaves and actually blows Overhaul really far down the alley, actually breaking through a wall. With Overhaul pissed off, so he pulls off his hands, so he slams his hand against the wall, making jagged spikes. But Deku grabs Eri, she flies straight up, with Overhaul actually flying straight up with his rocks and shooting himself up, using the rocks as a extender. But Deku keeps just flying straight up, with Overhaul running out of space, but he just keeps using more rocks, with Mirio then flying up with the rocks and actually tackling Overhaul down, and then turning intangible, so Overhaul can't touch him. So Overhaul just falls, but of course he catches himself with the rocks, and then Deku flies all the way back to Tsunade's, and Mirio lands into the ground and actually sneaks away from Overhaul, with Overhaul getting, of course, infuriated, so he immediately starts just tearing up the city, knowing exactly where Eri is, with Deku landing Eri where Tsunade is, with Eri then starting to panic and having a panic attack, with Tsunade squats next to her and telling her that it's alright, with Tsunade telling Deku that it just wasn't a good idea to do that, because he already knows what Deku did. But Deku says, I couldn't stand for it. So Tsunade nods his head, and Deku goes flying right back to Overhaul's, which is Overhaul turning into that big monster bird he was turning into, because he just kind of lost it and started just killing all his men. So he turns into a big bird creature, with Deku flying over and turning on shockwaves. And Overhaul then screams at Deku to give it back, and Deku then gets enraged for calling Arian it. So he starts using Shockwave on Overhaul, which actually starts to eardrum, make his eardrums bleed. And then we see Overhaul throw a giant meaty claw at Deku, but Deku uses blades, which he uses which is a quirk where he can just spin really fast. It's like a blade. So he cuts through the hand, making it drop to the ground, but Overhaul just grabs it, and uses that thing. Then Deku then uses Shockwaves again by turning off Blade, and just spams a whole buttload of them, pushing Overhaul to the ground. But Overhaul powers through and goes to grab Deku, which he actually succeeds in. And then he starts to crush. He's about to use his ability, but then Deku's body just poofs, and it's Clone. He turned off light to use Clone. So now he's on the ground, running towards Overhaul, uses Strength, and then throws the whole thing into the air. It being empowered because Deku's physical body is really strong now. So he throws Overhaul's whole thing into the air, with Overhaul then exploding the whole body and making it more flight-based, with like giant wings. But Deku doesn't care, so he says, there is no air where Overhaul is. So Overhaul actually just doesn't have air. So Overhaul starts suffocating, but Overhaul uses like a piece of meat to extend his mouth so he can breathe outside of Deku's range. But then Deku says light, and actually makes light constructs like into lightning bolts. Can you tell I'm basically just using the moveset that Starlight Mate did against Shigaraki? So Overhaul just starts getting beamed through the body, and then Deku turns on flight, flies over, grabbing Overhaul's actual body, which is kind of just two legs right now. So Deku flies all the way up, away from all the meat, which is actually flying towards them, and then Deku uses Blade to spin really fast, straight down. Think like Rock Lee's move, which is spinning Lotus. So he spins all the way to the ground, the meat spinning with him, and then Deku flies all the way down to the ground and actually smashes Overhaul head into the ground, making him go unconscious. If you're wondering how Overhaul's not dead, the meat caught up and cushioned the fall. So Deku then tears himself outside of the meat, and then pummels Overhaul's head into the ground, breaking his mask straight off, busting up his nose, and making his eye bruise. Then Deku drags Overhaul all the way back to the agency, and every single time he's about to wake up, Deku just slams his head to the ground with strength. Then Deku grabs Overhaul's leg and starts dragging him. So every single time Overhaul wakes up, Deku slams his head into the ground and then starts pulling him. So eventually he gets over there, and Sir Night says that probably destroying a whole city block would probably get him under arrest. So he thanks Deku and actually gives him a hug and telling him that he's been working on this case for 12 months. So he appreciates him. Afterwards, Deku says to Tsunade that he's sorry that he didn't think and just acted. But Tsunade says most heroes act upon instinct and not mind. And Tsunade says he reminds him a lot of All Might. Deku sort of grinning at that. Afterwards, we see Deku just tell Eri that he's glad she's alright, and we see Eri like integrate back to life. Oh, also, Sonardi's alive in this timeline because Overall didn't kill him, so that will be useful later if I can remember that. But anyways, I guess it was not the last part. Well, I hope you liked the video. Like, subscribe, hit the post notification bells if you liked the video, and if not, I think your view is good, but I would appreciate the like and the subscribe. But enough of me pleading. I hope you have a good day or good night. I will see all of y'all tomorrow. So